Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm Ty from the Unemployed Architects. This week, I'm talking about 4 shows I had last week. The first one would have been Wednesday at Poor Bros in Peoria. Thursday, I played at the local tap in El Paso. That Friday, I played at Effing Brew Company in Effingham. And then that Saturday, I played at the 12 Bar in Peoria. So I had 2 Peoria shows. We'll start with the Peoria one. It was, I don't know, I always have a good time over there when it's outside. And this was no exception. I mean, there was a big event going on, and wasn't super busy, but it was definitely, more than a handful for sure. And kind of people walking in and out all night. So, because they're coming from the street to where I was playing, which is kind of in Poor Brothers courtyard. So, it was really fun. I feel like I sounded really solid, and until the end anyway. But I'll get back to that. I ended up doing 4 hours that night, and it was a long one. But I'd been playing live almost every day. I mean, the last week I played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a couple days off, and then, or a few, I should say, and but yeah, so I mean, I was ready to do 4 hours, and even in that situation, I was like, left a lot of songs out, but I played a fair amount of originals, which was cool. I did my "You Can Call Me Al" cover, the Paul Simon song "You Can Call Me Al." I did that as well, and it went pretty good, but that's the one that the Peoria Music Live, they came out to the show, and that was the one that they posted on as far as on their page, because they filmed it more than that, but that's the one they picked to use. I just, it's a new cover for me, so I don't feel like I really played it like amazingly. There are probably a lot of other songs that I would think I did better, but it still sounded pretty good, so I was kind of happy about them even making the trip. And it was just a good show. It got kind of slim there at the end. There was just like a couple tables. There was I started playing. What was I gonna? Oh, I was towards the end of my set. There's almost nobody there, and there were 2 older ladies came up and they started dancing, so I just kept hitting them one after another one of like, a lot of stuff, maybe more from their era of music, and I felt like they were having a good time, and that kept me going for the last bit. But I don't know, yeah, it was a good show. I was happy with how it all turned out. It was a little iffy on the weather, so I ended up I wasn't sure if I should bring my canopy, and then I did, and didn't rain, of course, but it took me forever to get that thing back in the little bag that it comes in, and it was just a lot. I don't know, it's hard to do that by yourself. Usually it takes at least 2 people to kind of, so it made my setup a little bit extra labored, I would say, as well. And so that was the only negative thing. I do feel like at the end I started playing my newest cover, which I kind of suck at still, is a song that the Wood Brothers made popular. But I did that towards the end because there's like no one there, and then the guy who books me, one of the owners over there, he was like there for that. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have picked this song. But yeah, it was good. It was a good night. So Thursday was kind of the exact opposite. I mean, it was like a night and day difference. And this was because it was an outdoor, they have like this really nice patio. So again, it was at the local tap in El Paso, kind of a new spot. And I was on the patio, and it just got cold too quick, and they don't really do indoor stuff. So, I mean, I probably played 45 minutes for 7 to 10 people, and then after those people got done eating, and all the people that were cold went inside, I was playing for like 2 people maybe, and then there was a big table that had come to hang out, and a lot of people, but it was too cold, so they were inside most of the time. But there was a few guys from that group that came out and started and then I felt like I couldn't get up because it's like the only way that this show is going to work is if I keep these people entertained. And there's probably 3 or 4 of them. And then, I thought keeping them there would be what's best for the bar anyway. Turns out one of the guys, he plays guitar and sings, and he had a show there the following Wednesday, which was like the following Thursday, which was like his first show there. So, of course, I was like, all right, well, why don't you can use this like a practice show. Get up there and play through my PA with my guitar, and he played some songs, and he really solid singer. I mean, yeah, I thought he had a really solid voice. Him and his friend group were really into this. What's his name? I'm gonna say Zach. Kind of country. I played a Tyler Childers song, and they really got a kick out of that. And they even recognized it, which I was pretty surprised by. But he went up there and he played Zach Bryan, which is kind of along the same vein, I would say. I've been listening a little bit, but there was he probably did 3 Zach Bryan songs, and I thought they were pretty good. And again, he had a really strong voice. I think we ended up doing one together, which was kind of funny because the way he played it and the key that he played it was Tennessee Whiskey, which I covered as well. But the way he played it was in a key that was like 3 half steps higher than even Stapleton does it. So it was hard for him to sing. He kind of pulled it off, but he put himself in a rough situation because I do it a whole step down. There's no way I'm even trying to keep up with Stapleton. I mean, but he surprisingly did pretty good with it. I think we did Shut Up and Dance together too, because I figured he'd know the words, and he sang a little harmony on that. He sounded pretty good. But anyway, so that was kind of a pleasant surprise. I was happy to give that fellow, which I blanket on the name, I was happy to give him some extra stage time, and it was definitely a lot of fun to be on the other side of it for a few songs. And I learned about this Zach Bryan guy, which it turns out I had heard a few of his songs on my Spotify before, because I looked through and I liked a couple of them, but I couldn't remember the name. But anyway, I don't think I like every one of his songs, but I think some of them are pretty cool. Kind of a simple, just acoustic kind of country, folky. I don't know. It's not quite straight country, and it's definitely more country than just straight folk, I think. But somewhere in the middle, and here's some ones that I thought were pretty good, and I think that kid playing them, and I think the kid was like newly 21. He did a really nice job, and he got me interested. Like, I was hearing some of the lyrics, and like, oh yeah, these are pretty good for country. And as far as I don't know, there's some country I like a lot, but there's some that's a little bit too poppy for me lyrically, and so yeah, I was excited to have a new artist. But ultimately, I did tell that kid too, if he wanted to hit me up sometime, if he ever wanted to open for me in some other thing, that he could hit me up, because I thought he did good enough to hold it down for a few songs before I play, and then he has to hit me up about it though. Like the saying goes, you can only lead the horse to water, you can't make him drink. So it just depends on if he really wants to. I feel like sometimes I have an issue, like I try to put that into people more than they want me to, if that makes sense, about maybe helping people out, or I don't know. There's just a few of my musician friends that I know is like I try to hook them up with stuff, and then they aren't as into it as I would be if somebody hooked me up with that. But yeah, I just think that it was fun for what it was that night at the local tap. It was slow and cold, and there was only about 5 people, but they got into some of my originals at the end too, and they were liking it. So the next show would have been Effing Brew. So I never played in Effingham. It was a 2-hour drive. I got really antsy on the way down for some reason. I don't know. A lot of short drives lately, so I was like, oh, I'm tired of being in this car, pretty much. But anyway, got there. They had their own sound. It was kind of weird how it was set up. It was the main room, which had the bar. They had a kitchen, so they served food. And then, like, there was like this big window, like maybe shoulder level if you're sitting in. And then in that back room was the brewing part and a little stage. So I wasn't sure how my one-man band would be, if it would even be worth doing, because, would they even see that I was doing the foot drums? But the way they was set up, they could. And I was debating on whether, because their stuff looked a little wild, and so I was debating whether I should really just use my same setup that I always do. Eventually, the sound guy came in. I talked to him a little bit, and he seemed pretty chill. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just plug into your stuff. So, left me with less work, which was good. I got Lo got me some new lights recently, so I've been using those a lot, and I was able to jazz up their space a little bit, and they had some lights built in too, so it looked probably cooler than maybe it normally would have. But anyways, we got sound checked. He kept the volume decently low and didn't kill anybody, and it was a fun show. I was like pleasantly surprised, because I don't know, I just didn't have any expectation, and I was just assuming that it probably would be like the night before, maybe a little, but it was indoor, which probably helped. But the people there were definitely music people. You could tell that they were into what I was doing. You could tell that they had been like, I like when bars do that. They kind of build a scene almost of people that enjoy. Like, I felt that about that Benny's Pizza Pub down south when I played there. It was kind of like the same thing. Like, people knew that music was going to be there, and they wanted it. It wasn't like, they just showed up and music happened to be playing. So I think that happens at a lot of places. So this place had built an atmosphere of, every weekend there's live music. And yeah, it just ended up and made for a really fun night. There was one hiccup, I'll say. So I played like 2 hours straight almost, and I was really feeling good, and, playing a fair amount of, I did a lot of my mashup covers, but I was playing a lot of originals in between and feeling like they were going pretty good. But then I took a break, and I came back, and they sat at this table right in front of me that was just like, it must have been old friends just catching up, but they definitely weren't there for the music, which, it's not really their fault. And it's not like it's my expectation to, but it was just kind of funny because I felt so confident, and then I went back and played, and it just like immediately shriveled because I couldn't get these people to not only listen to me, but just not talk over me completely, because it wasn't loud in there, so I mean you could hear each other pretty easily, and there were just a couple people at that table that, and again, I'm no expectation of somebody actually stopping what they're doing, but it did take a I paid a little price, I guess, mentally, even though it's not their fault at all. Maybe if I was better, I could have grabbed them a little bit more than I was able to. But it was just kind of made for a brutal last set, because I kept, because if it was definitely annoying me, and there was definitely a group of people that seemed a little off-put by it. And then I looked over later, and they were gone. The people, and these were people that were like really paying attention to what I was doing. So I don't think it was just me. It was just like bad seating. I mean, that's what it boils down to. They wanted a big table, so they had the tables right up front. But of course, the people seating them didn't know that they weren't going to be into the music at all, and they probably didn't even know there was going to be music there. So it was kind of, ideally, I think we would have, somebody would have set them maybe in all the way to the left or all the way to the right, kind of far from the stage, because they clearly weren't there for the music. But it just happens. But it was still fun, and I almost got them a couple times. I got them at least to kind of quiet down a little bit and kind of pay attention to what was going on a few times. But I don't know. It's just so funny how easily you can be humbled like that. Like, I felt like I was a man on fire for a little while. Like, I grabbing people and saying, I was like boosting my magnets and stickers and where you can follow me and playing originals, and then it just took one, larger table up front to really like make me shrivel a little bit. But anyway, so that was kind of the excitement that night. But overall, it was a really fun show, and the bar owner there was really cool. I talked to him for a long time, and seems like a really nice, supportive fella, and that is always a good thing. It's places like that we need, us musicians. So then the Saturday show was another Peoria show. It was what was it? It was the 12 Bar in the Heights. So this show, the one drawback I would say is it's on the third story, so I have to load all my stuff in. There's an elevator that they let me use, thankfully, and then you have to get all in the elevator, all in one setting, go all the way to the top, get it all off the elevator, and then you have to walk like all the way through the bar to go to the place where you set up. But once you get there, it's really, really cool. It's like a rooftop bar, and not huge, but they have these like flame I don't know if they're not grills, but they're just like these giant fire pit type things, and yeah, so this show is just awesome. I just felt really tight, and I feel like everybody was hanging on to every word I was saying at a certain point. I even played my new slow sad original song, and people got up and danced to it, which, you know, was a very pleasant surprise ultimately. And yeah, I just felt, you know, I felt like I was a little off on some stuff, but the crowd didn't make me feel that way. And really good feedback from the bar, and it was just a lot of fun all around. And yeah, so that was, I think that was pretty much it. I update on my recording, the live album. So the mixes are all where I want them. There's two things that I still have to fix that were just these random anomalies, I will say, because I was talking in the last pod about how we sampled the kick drum to make it, or we used a sampled kick drum, a triggered kick drum to bring out the kick in the mix a little bit extra, but there's these phantom ones that just show up sometimes, and so I got a few more of those, and then hopefully I can release that album. And then I have recording time on, I think it's October, middle of October at some point, and hopefully to solely work on the new original, the slow depressing one that I was, the magic song that I was talking about. So yeah, that's pretty much all that's been going on. Sorry if I'm a little scattered. I don't know, I'm just kind of out of it today. I had lessons, and I got up a little earlier than I normally do, and I don't know, I just feel kind of all over the place, but that's okay. I got a good amount of stuff done before the lessons. Anyway, that is all I got for this time. I will talk to you on the next one. As always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and we'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.